Welcome, everybody. January 9th, is it? January 9th, our second of the year Happy Hour podcast for Let It Run. And we're turning the program into having special guests join us. And this is one of our first one. Very happy to have, very happy to get, some time with John. But I'm going to let him, give you a little bit about his background. We have John O'Hara from Four Leaf Clover Stables over at Parks and the whole Northeast. But, just a well-rounded guy. And we've crossed paths just recently, but, we traveled in the same circles for, many, many years. And, just glad that, comes full circle to horse racing that, we really get connected again. So, John, you could say a couple of things about yourself. But my first question I always ask somebody is, how young did you get involved in horse racing? How did you get started? Who do you blame or who do you thank for getting you involved?
There's a lot of people to blame, but good to see you, John. Thanks for having me on. I started at 9 years old. My parents got their first horse with Ron Glorioso, who's a Hall of Fame trainer at Parks. And that was like 1974. They got involved, and I was in the winner's circle for a lot of times during the 70s. And then after high school, I was working 2-3 jobs. I hot walked for Ron Glorioso for about 2 years. And then in 1991, I bought my first horse, Delightful Fling. We claimed it for $6,500. We ran a couple times, won a couple times. And I got bit by the bug early. I was going there like 3-4 times a week with my parents. So I was reading the racing form at 10 years old, before school. And by senior year in high school, I was taking bets for the teachers.
Yep.
So
that sounds like
I got into it really early. Yeah. So I got into it real early. And then a couple of years ago, I decided to get back in.
So you did take a little bit of a breakdown for a while.
I did. I thought when I first got in at 26 years old, I bought my first horse. I was a bit young. And financially, you own one horse by yourself. It's tough. And then recently in the last 2-3 years, I started the partnership, which I think is really the way to go. This way you're not burdened by all the expenses on your own. And I'm a big firm believer in going halves with the trainer as well. That's worked out great for us with my trainer, Kate DeMasi and Pewter Stable. We've had some luck, a lot of luck this year in 25 that just passed, and 24 we got going, and now we're 12 horses, and we have Ed Colati as a trainer as well, and Guadalupe Preciados has one horse right now with us.
And you mentioned you said you go half with the trainers. You said you go half with the trainers. Explain that to people that don't know. Owning a horse, like what's entailed.
So when we claim a horse now, we claim if we go 50-50 with the trainer, we'll claim it with Pewter Stable, which is Kate DeMasi and her husband Greg. They usually they like a horse, we'll go halves. So we're 50-50s with them. It's nice because the trainer's got a lot of skin in the game too. So they want to do as well as we do, and they want to do well anyways. I'm not saying that they're not, but
exactly. But I love
it takes the burden off you.
I love
it takes the burden off the owner a lot.
The trainer having skin in the game. I love that because then you can feel like you're getting an honest shake, and that's how I first got involved. We put the $5,000 up to claim a horse, and we bought it. And Tommy Miller, T.R. Miller, back in the day was our trainer, and he did all the training and feeding and stabling, and we split purses. So we bought the horse. Our initial investment was basically all we were in for, maybe a vet bill here and there.
Yeah.
But he was the daily fee, and that daily fee, as you know, adds up a lot if you keep
it does.
Fees and
it
no
does. And then when you're in with a couple, well, exactly, and that's the hard part. If you're just a solo owner, is if you're in 100% and that horse isn't doing much, you're in for, let's say right now the average price is $3,000 a month.
Yeah,
and then that's without the vet fees or anything like that. But so this way, it takes a lot off us, and we get along great with Pewter Stable. So we've had some real success this year, And we have a horse or two with Uptown Charlie Brown. They're another partnership. And then we just bought a horse with Ed Colati as a trainer with Whiskey Run Stables and Silvercrest Farms.
Okay.
So it's fun. You know, if you're not worrying about the bill all the time, it makes it a lot more fun.
And that's why I'm in partners with other guys, because I don't want the big bill. I want the excitement. I want the fun. I'm not looking to get rich on it. If I could just, break even on it and have some winter circle pictures, go to the track, see my horse run. I love going early in the morning to the stable, the workouts. Nothing like the summer and the spring, 6 o'clock in the morning when that sun's coming up at Parks, watching the first go round.
That's probably where everything is done, is it early in the morning. If you've never been, if you're a new owner and you've never gone in the morning, that's the time to go. Go watch workouts, go watch some work in the stable, go watch the backside help people work. You know, it's that's where it's at. And then you watch the trainer do her or his thing. That's the fun part.
They
I
are
like that
amazing.
I like going in the paddock before the race too.
How much they have in their mind of what's going on. They know every one of their horses, what bandages and what equipment they should have on and what length of a workout. They don't even have to look. They just know in their head. It's like, all right, he's going to go 5/8 today. He's going 3/8. You're only going to jog him to the half mile, turn him around, and it's like everything's going on so fast, and they're just like calm because they're good at what they do.
Exactly. And you know what? And my theory is, as an owner, that let the trainer train. Don't get putting your 2 cents in here and there. If they ask you. And when I'm in the paddock and the jockey comes in, the jockey's, you let him ride. All I say in the paddock is, see you in the winner's circle after the race. That's it.
That's it. Safe travels. I'm like,
that's
safe travels. Let's get back safe, both you and the horse.
But yes, safe travels, and see you in the winner's circle.
And I did take Fred, our co-host of the podcast, Fred York, who's on a continuing education credit for his physical therapy, his doctor's degree that he's got to keep maintaining. So he's putting in 16 hours today, between today and tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll be covering the late pick 5 at Gulfstream. We're going to look at those couple stake races, and they got some full field. So tune in tomorrow at 12:30. We're going to break down Gulfstream, and Fred will continue with his credits. But what I started to say was that, I took him in the morning one time around Pennsy Derby. Might have been Pennsy Derby day or the day before, and we're stabled there right in the same barn as Baeza. Baeza's over there with John Sheriff's.
Oh, yeah.
They were right there.
Sure.
He's staying in John Service's barn. So we're watching, right next to us at the rail, just normal conversation, John Sheriff's and Arnaud Delacour, and it's just like one after the other. And it's who's who. It's like Clocker's Corner you always see in California, but this was like Parks on the turn there. And then Freddie's eyes would light up, and he's trying to do videos. And that's what you mentioned earlier, getting somebody there in the morning to see what goes on. Their head spins, and they love it.
Yeah. That's where you got to get hooked too, going in the mornings.
That's the reason I love it. I mean, just to get up and go anytime I want, go through that gate. They scan my car, and I'm in there, and I just walk around the barns and talk to everybody. And those morning conversations, as a horse fan, a horse player, that's what I love. More than betting on them, I just love being around it, and I love going up to Saratoga in the summer. Nothing like walking around the Oklahoma training and then walking around the other track, seeing all the trainers that we know, and just so gracious with their, like not like a superstar athlete where, hey, can I get a picture? They're stopping what they're doing. They're getting a picture, and just great people, the horse, community.
Yeah. I haven't met too many people in the horse business that wasn't, friendly like that. Most of the people at Parks are really down to earth, good people. I haven't come across anybody that's, been rude or anything to me.
So let's get into your, the 4-leaf clover stable. That was your idea to put that together, and you're going to be a managing partner. And
it is.
What was that going to entail? Like how?
So we started it, and then you could buy shares. We have a lot of minimal partners, 1-2%ers, 3% at the most.
Do they have to get licensed as well? They're getting their owner's
not
license?
If you're like a 1%er, you do not. Not in Pennsylvania. I believe it's 5% and above.
Okay, then you can. And you get all those privileges we just talked about. going to
Yeah.
stables at your own will. But you can get
Yeah.
signed in, you know.
Yeah. You can sign somebody in and, take them to the backside and all
Yeah.
that. So, but, our theory was let's get a couple horses. Our first horse we claimed was Ninja Prize. Ninja Prize ran a couple times for us, and Roan Burgundy, and then we claimed those two with Pewter Stable, and then we bought a chunk of a horse with Pewter called Goldiness, and Goldiness did real well. It won 4 out of 10, I think, for us. Ninja Prize and Roan Burgundy have been claimed about 10 times a piece in the last, they're just one of those horses that runs every 2 weeks, and they get claimed all the time. So
Yeah, because if you move them up, they're not going to do any good. You leave them here, you're going to get a check every time. Might lose them.
correct.
You get them back
Correct.
again.
Right. And you got to, some of the partners get, I think, a little too attached to the horses. And I tell them up front, I'm like, it's a business and a game. You can't get attached. The claimers are going to get claimed. We're going to claim horses off. People are going to be upset that we claimed them, Yep. And we started actually going in with some 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds at the auctions. We took a horse that just won recently, Tip Top, from an auction. That was a digital sale.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just went in a horse that James Palatino and Pewter Stable bought at an auction. We bought a piece of Letter to You. Ran the end of November, first time starter, won a maiden special weight. So we'll see. We bought a horse with Ed Coletti, a 2-year-old just turned 3 the other day. So we're starting to get in that 2 and 3-year-olds thing. That takes some patience. The 2-year-olds and the young 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds take some patience and some let's just see how it goes type thing. It could turn out really good or it can turn out really bad. You don't know.
And that's what I'm dealing with right now because our last 3 horses that we purchased were at the 2-year-old in training sale in Timonium. So we took a shot with some there, and a couple of them were ready to go like within a month or 2, and others just took forever. And now our one that ran the other day, first time, getting her to the gate was impossible. And then we get her to the gate, and it's just the same thing every workout, because she's fast in the first 3 furlongs, in contention. Then she starts to make the turn, and she just quits, and just but you can't pull her up. She's not tired. She wants to go and go and go, but how do we get her to know what a racehorse is supposed to do and say, put this energy into 1 minute and 12 seconds? That's what we need right there.
Right.
We got the blinkers on her now. We tried different tongue ties, bits. So we just got to figure her out. But man, that was so disappointing that she was that bad. I mean, we weren't sure what we were going to get, but that was a little upsetting waiting that long.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is when you're buying these 2 and 3-year-olds, you get one that's out of a big sire, right? And you're like, all right, like this could be something, and you get him on the track and he's working really well. But then, the shins go and, you got some, one's got a stomach issue and it's just one thing after another. But when you finally do get him there, it's like a sigh of relief. And all right, now we can work with them, Now we, you see them run and you're like, all right, let's make some adjustments.
So how many total different people, even if it's 1% or whatever, how many total different people are involved in your syndicate?
We have 15.
How'd you come up with the silks? That's always a fun thing to design your silks. What led you to the clover?
Well, you know what, I'm Irish, so the green and white was kind of a thing, and then the 4-leaf clover, I thought, it's got to be lucky, right? So
yep.
The whole Irish thing for me and the 4-leaf clover with the luck was kind of like, all right, that seems like it works for me.
And how many people involved with you?
There's 15.
Oh, I'm sorry. I might have heard 15
no,
people.
Okay.
So it's small enough, but it's fun when you're all at the track together. And I saw your winner circle picture. Last one.
Every time it's funny because they'll laugh at parks. They'll be like, it's like we have 15 or 14 people in the winner circle at every time. And then a couple friends will show up and I'll invite them in and, so it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I'd rather have 15 people in the winner circle than
the groom and the trainer.
Yeah, right. Now we want to race during the summer at Monmouth, and nobody was there. And I was like, "How did that happen?" It it was like a Sunday afternoon at Monmouth and nobody was around and the horse won. And I'm like, oh, and broke its maiden too. I was like, oh, there was actually the assistant trainer and the groom. That was it.
Jesus. I mean, I was in Saratoga last summer when my horse won and got claimed at Monmouth. And, one of my partners was there, just him. So it was like disappointing. I know she was going to win. And I'm like, I know she was going to get claimed. I'm like, you guys are nuts. But they dropped her too low and she won. And I'm in Saratoga rooting for her like crazy. So, that was fun.
Yeah, it's great. We get a lot of cheering when one of our horses runs. You can tell, it's four-leaf clover because you got like 15 people in the blacktop there cheering.
Yeah. So you're a little less than Cash is King budget, right? You have a little less budget than Cash is King.
Oh, a lot less than Chuck's budget.
Yeah.
Listen,
level,
maybe someday.
Yeah.
And Chuck Zachney's a real nice guy, and Butch Reed, they do a great job. That's a class act right there.
Yep. Good friends with Butch and Ginny, and both.
Yeah.
Ginny really loves the horses.
Oh yeah, his brother was a great trainer too, Mark.
Yeah. Let's see. One other topic I want to cover before we get into handicapping our race here. Recently, you made a run at one of the board positions for the Pennsylvania Racing Commission board for the owner side. Can you explain that whole process? What made you want to do that? And what were some of your platforms that you were hoping to, bring forward? And what were some of the things that you see that we need to change or, that would be a good idea to look at?
Well, I ran because they had a little bit of turmoil the last year or two on the board. And I just thought maybe just a fresh face, a fresh look at something, could help. But I'm glad some of the people that were on the board were reelected because you need the experience too.
Yep.
You can't just say, all right, we need 10 new people or whatever. That wouldn't work. But I liked some of the people that were reelected, and I thought that maybe like 2 or 3 new fresh faces would have helped. My platform was basically, look, I'm here to help all aspects. Whether it's bringing fans in, whether it's helping communicate with parks, casino people, whether it's helping out with Harrisburg, all the aspects. I think we really do need to bring more fans. And I know the money comes from the casino money and the slots and all that. But, when I was a kid, that place was packed every day, 7 days a week.
Keystone Racetrack. You go way back to Keystone, right?
Yeah, I go back to Keystone. And it was like, and the casino wasn't there. I get it. But horse racing, you had Liberty Bell, you had Brandywine, you had Keystone. I mean, they were all thriving.
Atlantic City
and Garden State. I mean,
wow, that was back in the day, man. That was
I mean, there's enough to go around. And there's 30,000 people employed in some one way or another in the state of Pennsylvania through the horse racing.
30,000.
So I mean, there's 30,000.
Wow.
Between breeding and workers and farmers, and it goes right down the line. But I just figure if I can get on, maybe add a fresh face, and help in any way we could from the owner's side.
Yeah, for your first run, you made a name for yourself. You definitely,
it's funny because I figured I'll at least get one vote. My wife had a vote, so I'll get one vote.
Already.
But I ended up with.
I was your number 2.
Oh, then John, yeah. All right, so 2 votes, and so I ended up with like 167 votes, which wasn't really bad for a first time or unknown, So I thought, all right, I was respectable.
Yep. All right, we'll get them next time. We'll rally up the campaign for next time. And this podcast will be exploding by then.
And my trainer, she is now the president, Kate Tomasi. So she's the president. So,
there you go.
She'll do a great job,
Yep. All right. Let's see. All right, we're going to flip our gear now to the handicapping side of the program here. We like to, usually bring on a guest and ask them what their method of handicapping is, what they use, because myself, I'm a DRF guy. Most of the time, I know my partner Fred York is a BRISnet guy through and through. And as you can see, the banners up here. I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Case's Pork Roll has been with us, since the beginning. Tommy Dolan at Case's. Go to Case for the taste. If you're not from the Northeast, you don't know what we're talking about. But Case's Pork Roll is kind of tough to beat. So thank him for his support, and Alicia at the Vape Shop on Route 33, all your vaping and smoke needs. So they've been two of our supporters. We've been having conversation and just struck a deal with BRISnet.
Awesome.
So that is going to be a great, partnership for us to allow us into their library of products that they offer, and for us to share those products on our airwaves, and to have a Briz Prime Power pick of the day, or there's so many different angles with Briz that I'm going to have to learn a little bit. Fred could teach me, but having them partner on with us and give us their support of their product will definitely be better for this podcast. And when we make picks and all, we just look to give ideas out there. It's not the end all. We're giving you our opinions on how we see a race developing, and you make the final decision as a handicapper where you play your money. Don't live and die with somebody and say, oh, he said it, I'm going with it, and if it loses, I'm going to kill that guy because he said it can't lose. That's why it's gambling. If it was every race that you bet was winning, it would be called winning, and there'd be no gambling involved. So we're all gambling, trying to come up with angles, and that's why we're breaking down this race here. Fred picked out this race. I was sick all week in bed. He picked out the 9th race at Fairgrounds, $100,000 stake race. It's for Louisiana breds, 6 furlongs. It's kind of tough for me to, really put my hands around it, but over the last 3 days, I did deep dive into it. So we're going to start out, and we're going to go through horse by horse here. Myself and John give a couple of, thoughts. But before I do, I want to, where I started the conversation, John, what is your handicapping methods? What tools do you use? What subscriptions, anything?
I'm on the Equine and
Equine Edge?
I am.
I love Equine Edge. I use that religiously.
I do use that. I like to preview those. Even when my horses are running, I use that a lot, and they're very helpful. I'm an old-fashioned racing form type of guy as well, and I still get it delivered to the house.
Whoa!
Yeah,
that's expensive now, not like it used to be.
Oh yeah, it's pricey. So I still use that a lot, and when I'm at parks, I use my good friend Craig Donnelly, who I've known since I was a little kid. We used to be winning photos together, back in the day.
Yep.
So I like to use Craig's picks as well, but I like looking at who they've run against. Who the horses have run against. Are they dropping? Are they moving up? Their recent workouts. That it tells a lot. I think history, statistics and history are what I go by.
All right, let's see how this race pans out, and if we can get some thoughts. It'll be a different, differing opinions and differing views coming from two different, handicappers here. But number one, Benoit, who I wanted to make this my top pick at all costs. I was trying to find a way to really, zoom in on him. I love the turn pack. I love the second time, back off the layoff. You cross off that one turf race, and that dirtied him up a little bit, but he, looks really good. And then to your point, John, his competition. Touch Upon a Star, he ran against 3 times at a route, got beat 3 times. But, 2x4, 2x5 to Touch on a Star, he beat Sierra Leone fair and square. So that horse is just not your typical Louisiana bred. So,
yeah, really.
And just the distance, I don't know how he's going to get into the 6 furlong distance. I mean, even his miles where he was near the lead, those fractions were, 48. And these other horses, they're 6 furlongs. They're going 45 and, 44 and change. So even with the turn back, him closing, I think he might be, 15 lengths behind. But, man, if he could get within 6-8 lengths down the backstretch, he'll be my one coming for home to, maybe run down these 2 favorites. What do you think about the one?
Yeah, he had a real nice bullet workout on 1228 where he went 47-4, and he ranked one out of 93 horses that ran that day in the
They're trying to
workouts.
sharpen him.
But like you said, on December 13, he ran a mile and an eighth, and he was off since May 5th before that. So he probably needed a race but he tired out a little bit. But I think with that bullet workout, they were pushing him to see if he could really sprint out this time. And like he said, if he's close, he might be there.
Yeah, I like the
But
6 to
he's
1
got to
attach,
get close. The fractions early. The fractions early. He's got to stay within range. Number 2, Sir Wellington. He's got Paco Lopez on him. This horse has been all over the place. Oaklawn Park, Delaware, Laurel. Ran his last race at Keeneland. He had at Delaware, he had a 104 speed rating, and the race before that at Laurel, he had a 46. So I just think this horse is in way over his head here.
Yeah, I basically had the same thing. His numbers aren't quick enough here. He is now 8 years old, so he's definitely turning the corner. Not to be running in these types of races. He's going to find his home, and he's going to have a good 8-year-old campaign once he finds out where that level is. But give him one more shot as an 8-year-old to shoot for the moon here. I just don't see him being a factor in this race. Even at the distance, he's only got 5 wins out of 30 starts. So he'd probably be a complete fade for me and anywhere in the exotics for me. Number 3, Braun and Brew. Originally wanted to find a case for this one. It's his 3rd time back off the layoff. He loves fairgrounds. 5 wins, 3 seconds, and a third. So he's got 9 out of 11 hitting the board at fairgrounds. What is he? 6 wins, 4 at the distance anywhere he runs. So I wanted to put him in for that. But then when I went down and I circled the state bred stake races that this is, he just is nowhere to be found in those races. The 4 times he's tried it, 4 by 12, 6 by 5, 7 by 9, 3 by 2. And he got beat by horses in this race convincingly. So how he's going to turn the table, I tried to find a case. I just can't. Jockey trainer combo is not good. I just couldn't find a case for him.
Yeah, he's won at 6 furlongs, but lesser competition, allowance race or whatever. When he's stepped up with big boys, he hasn't done very well. But I just couldn't find a spot for him either. Number 4, Hey Jude, got Jose Ortiz coming in to ride. Hey Jude has run against the top tier in this race, but always seems to be third, fourth, or fifth behind them. I just think he's just a step behind them, but he's usually right there, but he's just not there yet with the 5 and the 6 and the 7. He's always right behind them, always.
Yeah, I find him in that same exact spot. I like Jose on him. Jose was on him last time. He was 4-1 against these same 2 favorites, same 3 horses last time, and they beat him convincingly. Had a slow start. I don't know, not sure how much that impacted him, but he wasn't beating those horses anyway, so maybe a minor player. Then I went down and circled his sprint races, and it did light up a little bit where his sprints are nice. He wins by 4. He's 3rd by a half. He's 2 by 2. He wins by 3/4. So the sprint races are better than his route dirtied up form. So if you could circle his sprints, he's one that I could maybe use to be, 2nd or 3rd, maybe splitting the favorites. Not a win candidate, but hopefully somebody at 6, 8-1 that can split the favorites for a nice juicy, a more juicy try. It's not gonna be juicy with when we get to the favorites here. Number 5, El De Niro.
Yeah.
This one here is just always second best to, the 6. Sugar. Go Sugar. So I don't know what's going to turn the tables. I mean, he's faced them 6 times, and he's got beat by him 6 times on the fair and square. So what's going to be the turning point to make this horse be better than the 6? 2 wins at fairgrounds out of 9 starts, 1 win at the distance. That's not flattering. Equine Edge we just talked about, 12% win candidate. So that's, on the lower side here. So I find a tough time at 5-2 taking him to turn the tables on a 2-1. If they're close in odds, no question the 6 is my play. But if there's a big separation like 3-5 and 4-1, then you got to start considering a little different angle.
Yeah, I like him. I like him in my trifecta. Actually, I think he's going to be right there, second or third. Like you said, he hasn't beat No Sugar yet, but he's always right there. He's 18 for 25 in the money, so that's why I like him in the trifecta. And he's shown that he can hang with Go Sugar, but just can't. It's almost like Affirmed Aladar, But I mean,
it looks like
Aladar
that kind of
did
race.
beat Affirmed a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah. But number 6, Go Sugar. Hey, you gotta love the owner's name, Single Malt Stable, right?
Yeah.
Gotta love that.
Right up our
13
alley.
wins in 25 races. 13 wins, that's a lot of wins, and his times are really good. I mean, he's gonna be tough to beat in a sprint race. I don't see too many horses beating him in this race.
No, same way. I mean, I tried to get around him, but he's got such a pace advantage. Equine Edge has him with a huge 93 with a box around it, which means that, it's a really nice pace advantage in the race. 35% win candidate. Fourth time back off the layoff. You could throw the 2 turf races, put a line through him. That's one of his losses. Other than that, he's, first or second, right on the money. 13 wins. He's a win machine. He knows how to get to the wire, whereas the 6 doesn't want to beat the 6 ever. So at first I was looking, it's got to be 6-5, like Affirmed Aladar. It's got to be 6-5 ice cold. You're not going to get paid on that. You're not going to get any value. So trying to come up with a couple horses that I want to see maybe have a chance to squeeze into, second. And no question, the 6-5 should be the exacta in my mind. But I'm going to try to create value and go 6 with a couple horses, and the 5 hangs on for third, and somebody passes them at the wire. So that's how I'm going to try to create value. We'll get to later on. But the 6 would be my, my top pick here. Unfortunately, it's going to be close to even money and, very tough to beat. Moving on to number 7. This one, very interesting at 10-1. Florent Giroux on him. He was 22-1, 17-1 his last 2 starts against Go Sugar. But he didn't disgrace himself. He was one of the ones that was right there, third and fourth, right behind these horses. So with a little bit of racing luck, he could pass, Il Dinero and maybe get second in the race, where he could be 13, 14-1, and Il Dinero might be 3-1. So he's one of my ones that I would use to try to split the favorites.
I like the 7. I like him in the trifecta, actually. I have him circled. He won several times in his career. He won his first few races, then a few seconds, and then they dropped him in the claiming races. He was claimed for 12,000, 15,000, and 20,000, and is now back in the stake races. But like you said, he's right there. He's got some value. Plus, the jock makes a big difference as well. I like him at the 10-1 as in my trifecta. I like
no
him
doubt.
right there.
He's definitely in my number for sure.
Yeah, I like him mixing in with the favorites. Number 8, he is late again. Won 5 out of 7 to start his career. Going long. Feeling this race might be out of his reach at a short distance. So I don't know if he can get going, as quick as the other horses, and he might be trailing and make a late run, but I think he's going to be way too late for that. He just doesn't have that upfront speed for that.
Yeah, that's another one. Just like the 1, I tried to really find a case for this one, and I really like them coming out of the routes, turning back. He does show those 7 furlongs and the 6.5 furlongs. When you circle those races, he wins, and wins. So he can sprint, and turning back a little bit, and he has more speed than the 1 is going to have. So he might have himself in enough position more than the 1 to make that late run and maybe finish, third, or maybe get lucky and finish second. So he'd be one of the ones I would use to, split the favorites again. So I'm going to use 3 of them to split them. We'll go over that after this. Number 9, Capice. Likes fairgrounds, likes the distance. Trainer jockey combo, 50% is only a sample size of 2, but a solid trainer down there in fairgrounds, Sam David. But just I don't know if it's fast enough with these the Beyer speed figures. He's doing that at in the sprints and all, and what he is, what he's got, what his speed numbers are, and they just don't match up nowhere near the other ones. Some of the ones I would take a shot with are the ones turning back that maybe can boost their number a little because they haven't proven themselves. Like I think the 9 has proven themselves at this level, and he's going to be also ran of 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, something like that.
Yeah, I couldn't find a reason to love this horse at this race level. I think he's in for a tough challenge and a long day. He's out of Star Guitar, which was 24 for 30. Had an incredible career.
One of the amazing Louisiana breds you'll ever see. That was one of the greatest horses.
Yeah, I mean, it's just he's not him though.
He's not Star Guitar.
I just don't see him. No, I just don't see him doing it. And number 10 Sounds Like Power. I'm finding a lot of trouble putting him in my trifecta as well. He's a really nice allowance horse, and that's I think his level. If he was running for an allowance, but even his last 2 starts in the allowance, he finished 4th in both races, and I just don't think he's up for the challenge in this race.
Yeah, I guess first time off their claim, they're shooting for the moon. They're seeing what they could get, and then they'll drop them back to the proper level. But the 9 and 10, I don't really see in being a factor at all. So
yeah,
basically the way I would play the race, the way I see it, I think the 6 is going to be really tough to beat, and I'm going to try to beat the 5 for second, even though it should kind of probably be line up 6-5 around the track. But I'm going to, you throw in the 1, 4, 7, and 8 in between the 2. So I'm going to go 6 with the 1, 4, 7, 8 with the 5, hopefully split the favorites, and, a dollar try with the, price in the middle might pay 20 some dollars. You get 20 to 1 on a bet where the horse is going to be 4 to 5 to win, and the 6-5 exacta probably is going to pay about $4 or something, and then we're not playing exactas for that. So I don't even want to waste my money on a trifecta 6-5 with 3 prices in the 3rd hole because that's really defeating the purpose. I'm going to take one shot, a small wager, splitting the favorites, and hopefully one of those 4 I mentioned turns back, comes running, and can pass the 5 at the end. But I don't think nobody's passing the 6 at the end.
Yeah, I'm betting the 6 is going to win, but like you said, I like the 1 and the 7 to break up that exacta. If I'm playing the exacta, but like you said, the exacta with the favorite on top might go off 2 to 1. It's not going to pay much. But my trifecta, I would throw. I like the 7 and the 1 both in there to maybe get in between the 6 and the 5.
Similar. I mean, we're similar thought pattern, and betting a race like this is one that I would normally pass. Just no value in it unless I'm playing, $20 straight tries and try to catch one cold for a $60 bet. Put 3 horses in the middle, and then sure enough, as you're watching a race, they run around 6-5 like a merry-go-round, and nobody's passing nobody, and then you're like, okay, you rip up and you move on. But if you catch one,
this might have been a useless conversation if it just comes out 6-5 like we all pretty much think it will be. But
let's hope we could split them with the tries coming back, $27 or something for a buck. Make it worth the wager. I mean, if somebody wants to wager $4 or something like that, any multiples, and you can increase it however you want. But neither one of us can see the 6 getting beat here. We can't find a case for anybody really to beat him. So both of us, John and John, pick the 6 today.
Yeah,
unfortunate, guys, but we give you the favor.
Right. We'll give you the winner.
That wraps up our show for today, and tune in tomorrow at 12:30. Since Freddie's away, I'm going to have a special guest. My buddy from Tampa Bay lives down there, and I spent many Breeders' Cups and Saratoga time with him. Wady Kala, horse owner down there at Tampa, and he'll join us to break down the late pick 5 at Gulfstream. They have a nice full card tomorrow. We'll have a little better conversation than Louisiana bred race here today. But the main purpose today was, getting to know John, giving us a background on, his stable, how he got involved. It was a great conversation, John. I enjoyed having you on, and we'll have you on in the future. And after your next winner, we'll have you on to talk about your next winner.
Sounds good. And if I'd be remorse not to say a shout out to Case's Pork Roll, your sponsor, because I am the president of the Trenton Softball Hall of Fame, and Case's Pork Roll has done a lot for us. It's a nonprofit. We give out scholarships for high school kids. And as you know, the Trenton Mercer County softball was huge. And it hopefully keeps going, but Case's Pork Roll is a huge sponsor of ours. So I'd like to put a shout out to the Dolans. Thank you very much.
Absolutely great people. All right, John, have a good rest of the day. Enjoy your weekend and enjoy the football weekend. And we'll catch up soon at the Hibos.
Sounds good, John. Take care.
All right, thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.
All right.